Okay, it's 6:07. I'll call this meeting to order with a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the April 18th, 2022 meeting?
Make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Agenda amendments? Public comment on agenda amendments? Correspondence, Lisa?
We did receive notification from Erie County that our GAP grant was approved for $168,000.
Okay, thank you. Any questions regarding that? Okay, do I have a motion for the approval of the April 2022 expenses?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Old business? New business. Motion to approve or deny resolution 2022-08 plan revisions for the new land development Kuzma small flow sewage treatment facility.
I'll make a motion.
Well, do you want to explain that, Matt, a little bit, or it's just a small flow sewage treatment facility?
Yeah, it's a small flow sewage treatment. I think Tammy has more of the, I think it's one of those existing retrofits. They had a failed system and they're looking to retrofit, couldn't pass perk tests, so they had to do a small flow treatment facility.
They're compliant with the DEP. We received this in March, and this is just part of the process is to approve the resolution.
Okay, so it's a sewage planning large one?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, any questions regarding that?
Where would this be, Mark? Do they have to?
I believe it's on the west side of Old French Road, north of Joe Kuzma's house, south of the bean farm. And I believe they're going to be subdividing that property. Okay, so I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Approved, sorry.
To approve.
Right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Land development, Tammy?
Actually, this is regarding stormwater.
Oh.
She'll pass it back on to me here.
All right, Matthew.
So on April 26, 2022, I did an on-site review of the Kunzo landscape business. They're putting in they're doing the construction, putting in the stormwater facilities. So I did an inspection for a possible bond reduction. And for the most part, the project's about half done stormwater-wise. They have most of the conveyance in, and the stormwater pond is roughed in. They're looking to possibly do a revision, so they're working with Welka on that. But with all that, the original bond amount was $21,980.20. Based on what's already completed on site, I would recommend reducing the bond by $11,648, and we would retain $10,332.20 until the project is complete.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve or deny the stormwater bond
I'll
reduction?
make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And then letter B, I reported on this at the last meeting, but we've gotten a hold of Terry Ray's widow. and she was okay with us taking the remaining bond for the trails at 5 points. And basically, this is to take the stormwater pond, which is currently in an E-nest state, as a sediment trap. And we would do the final conversion of the outlet structure, remove the baffles and the skimmer device that's there, and we converted it into a final stormwater pond. The remaining bond is $2,500. When we spoke with Mike Hannes, he said that should be plenty enough for them to do the final conversion.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve or deny the stormwater bond for trails at 5 points?
I'll make a motion to approve the reduction.
Well, this one would be approving the use of the bond.
Right. The use of the bond, I'll approve the use of the bond.
I'll second that.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Solicitor,
I've said enough tonight.
Matt Jonas, engineer.
Hammer Road Phase 2 sidewalk project, as of last week and earlier this, as of Friday, all the sidewalk has been installed. This week, as the weather permits, they're going to do landscape restoration. If the weather is good next week, they're hoping to do the asphalt repairs around the curb ramps, and that should basically almost end the project. I'm working on setting up a time for a kind of a final walkthrough punch list. There's a few things that they're still missing that we need to address, but we'll make a punch list and address that. We're still working with the Planning Commission on revisions to the sidewalk ordinance. The last meeting, we kind of nailed down proposed future sidewalk areas within the township. If you recall, and for the folks that are here tonight for the first time, we're actually looking to get away from using the zoning ordinance as the areas of sidewalk needed in the township. Prior ordinance required sidewalks in commercial districts, and then it got real vague in what parts of residential districts they'd be required in. So we're taking the approach of updating the transportation plan, the official map. So there'll be 2 ordinances in one. So we'll update the official map to show areas of the township where there are sidewalk, where future sidewalk is needed. And then the ordinance for the requirement of the sidewalk will be written to make reference to the official map. So there'll be no more question on if sidewalks required here or not, kind of take the subjectivity out of it. We'll have a clear-cut plan so we wouldn't have to defer as many sidewalks in the future. So we're still in the process of that. We took their recommendations. We're going to go over and hopefully memorialize that map, and then we'll start working on the actual ordinance language to implement that. So we're probably a month or 2 out, but we're moving along pretty well. And then the final report I have for tonight is Douglas Parkway. We met with McCormick for a pre-construction meeting. We have some loose ends we need to take care of the road. As far as Douglas and Peach Street, we're going to put in camera detection. That way we can eliminate the traffic loops in the road, and they can mill them up and we don't have to worry about replacing them. And then there's a couple catch basins we needed to repair. So tentative, we have notice to proceed May 16th for McCormick to start that work. If we're able to get the work done sooner, we'll give them a sooner notice to proceed, but it looks like they're ready to go as soon as we give them the notice to proceed, so we'll be able to get that road done early in the season and be able to enjoy it before the snow flies. And that's all I have for tonight.
And I know the guys were working on raising those catch basin lids, replacing the bricks with the risers, so we should be done with that tomorrow.
Good, thank you.
Any questions for Engineer Jonas? Supervisor Lee? Oh, I'm sorry.
Where are you thinking about required sidewalks that they're not now? Is that gonna change much, or you're just trying to clarify?
We're just kind of filling in the gaps. We're doing the Hammer Road Phase 2. It's kind of a safety-based need because we're trying to get the folks off.
I'm not talking about you guys putting sidewalks.
No.
I'm talking about everyone else putting sidewalks.
Correct. So we're looking at Peach Street corridor, the 97 corridor for a section. Some of the subdivisions where sidewalk was never put in, and down off of 99 Old Oak Road, just kind of filling in some gaps.
Mostly commercial stuff.
Mostly commercial stuff.
What about residential sidewalks? We're gonna require them now. Is that in this ordinance that you're gonna work?
It'll be in there. I think we have Town Hall Village to fill in the gaps. We'll have that in there.
The reason I ask is, I mean, if you're in the planning stage, what'll happen is, you guys are going to say you redid this map, any comments, and it's too late for us to even comment on where the sidewalks will be required.
Well, you know,
Sidewalks are a financial burden, and I don't know, they belong in some places, not in others, and I just don't know what your thought process is on where they should go. I'm just curious. I don't know where sidewalks belong or don't, but we don't get a say. You guys do it all, and then you'll hold up this map and say, hey, this is a new sidewalk ordinance. Anybody got any comment? We'll say, well, what? No, I guess not, you know?
you were through the zoning ordinance amendment. We stopped, we made changes. Just because it's the public hearing doesn't mean it's the final step. After we had that first zoning public hearing, I think it was in December, we stopped at about faced 3 months of additional hearings before we even approved it. So we listened to the public input.
The zoning.
Zoning ordinance, so, but
I
this
just
one,
mentioned that because just tonight we had a room full of people talking about the zoning ordinance that we never said that you could put short-term rentals in. But tonight you had a room full of people because you guys said, put short-term rentals in. They're allowed everywhere now. Had you not done that simple thing, Tim said, the new ordinance, or the new stuff says, hey, they're not allowed anywhere. But because that simple thing went in, I mean, that's just one simple thing tonight that we talked about, the progression of things and how they progress here is, I know we have to move forward. But here's our first major thing with the new zoning. And it's just the first. There will be more.
no, I mean, it's supposed to change. It's not it's not set in stone. It's not divine intervention. It's a working document that has to change with the times. And as Tim mentioned, at the time we put it in, it was current with the times. And then short-term rental was in that zoning ordinance from the very start because you have to have every possible use figured out in that ordinance.
It wasn't in the old one.
That's because it wasn't in use in 1990. But going back to the transportation plan, we'll go through the public process. We'll have the map on the overhead. We'll work through it. If there's changes that need to be made, we'll make the changes. We've already been going through it with the Planning Commission. I think we started this process in January. We've been looking at the map for the past 3 months. So we're not forcing anything upon anybody. We're taking our time. We're looking at all the considerations. The map we had last month, we eliminated a good portion of the sidewalk burden on folks. We did a pie in the sky, let's put sidewalk everywhere it could possibly go, and then we whittled it down, and now we have a whittled down version, and we're gonna proceed with that. We might whittle it down further. We might go before the public hearing and have to add additional sidewalk. But the public hearing is not, this is what we did, we're gonna vote on it, this is what we did, what do you guys think? There's no big rush to do this, so we're taking our time. You're welcome.
Jim, I know it's not set in stone, but you just brought up Town Hall Village. I presume you're talking the old portion, which is, I think it's called Enos Drive, and then there's two feeder roads and one loop. Are we, when I say we, the township going to pay for that? Because
No.
that's quite a bit of concrete. You know, it's a closed subdivision. I can understand over on Hammond Road, it's a public road. That's a closed subdivision.
Now, the whole purpose of the sidewalk ordinance is it takes the burden off the township. Now,
So,
we did Hammond Road and Oliver because of the safety concern. You had people walking on the road during the morning rush, and people were zipping through there at 40, 50 miles an hour. We wanted to get those folks off the road. Now, Town Hall Village, like I said, is a closed-off community.
so are you going to write an ordinance and make people pay for a sidewalk on a house that they've lived in for 40 years, 30 years? That subdivision's pretty old. It's at least 30 years old. It may be more than that. I'm just asking because these people, if you do something like that.
It gives, the sidewalk ordinance will give them the ability to put sidewalk in there if they so choose. Now, there will be a provision in there if, for some reason, the supervisors couldn't force it on someone, that may come out. We're still in the early stages. I'm basically looking at the second-class township code, the rights the township has regarding sidewalks. And we're kind of modeling it after that, and honestly, without any major development, there may never be sidewalk put in there. But who knows, we might be able to get like a grant for sidewalk to be put in there, but if you don't have it in a plan, you can't get it. Now, the Upper Peach Street, we're putting it in our transportation plan. We've pushed it to get it on the long-range transportation plan. The ultimate goal there is to be able to get a state grant for multimodal transportation and possibly be able to put that sidewalk in with grant funds. Otherwise, it'll be pushed in as properties redeveloped. So if you redevelop a property, you have to put the sidewalk along your frontage. And we've seen that, I think the most latest one was at the marijuana dispensary over by Tinseltown. They put in 50 foot along their frontage because that was the frontage of their property. But the intent is not to have the township continue putting sidewalk in every year. It's cost prohibitive. We just put in sidewalk on Hammett Road. It cost the township, it's going to cost the township $80,000 just for a small portion of sidewalk. So we're reserving that for where it's needed.
Yeah, that's my point is I don't think we should be, when I say we again, Summer Township should not be putting sidewalks in. You guys put probably 400 feet in the Doran Road and the first road east of Hammond. The developer should have done that.
Correct.
I don't think we should have done that. The last house built on the corner, which would be the southeast corner of Hammond and Doran Road, never had a sidewalk. The guy across the street had a sidewalk. So we put a sidewalk in front of that guy's house, all the way around the wildlife low area, up to the first house on, I think it's Martha Way, I may have the name wrong. That's 400 or 500 feet we shouldn't have put in. Things get slipped by, but there were sidewalks everywhere else. Well, the sidewalk should have been all the way through there. Now, I don't know, I know there's a sidewalk on Marley Way on, for no other word, when you pull in the road on the left-hand side as you pull in. Is there one on the right-hand side? Because I know like Milk Creek, the fancy subdivision off of Grove Road, they're only on one side of the road now. They're not doing it. Fair do the same thing. They're just putting a sidewalk on one side of the road.
Yeah, we have a sidewalk on, put it on the other side of the road as they develop that house there. And then they'll continue to make the turn whenever the Trails of 5 Points final phase goes in. They'll continue from where we left off on Hammett phase 2 here and go down, and then we'll have a little gap. And at that point, the township could go to the HOA for the Trails of 5 Points and request that they put it in at that point.
I guess I just don't think,
We're trying to get the mechanism so we're not stuck holding the bag every time.
and I guess these subdivisions need to be looked into, and, you know, it needs to be drawn in again. You guys weren't there when Marley Way was started. You guys weren't there when Trails of 5 Points was started, but Marley Way, I can't see through the future. You guys can't either, but I presume they may build it a little more. Make them put the sidewalks so they come all the way out to Hammett Road. If you don't do that, we're not going to approve any more of your subdivision. You know, there's ways to make these developers put the sidewalks in. Yes, there is a low area over on the right-hand side. Now, I don't know if that comes all the way out to Hammett Road, but if it doesn't, he should have to do that. And if he doesn't want to do that, well, then guess what? We're not going to expand your property. They think it's a lot of money. Well, it is a lot of money, but why should the 7,000 residents or whatever we have in Summer Township pay for 200 feet of sidewalk in his private subdivision that's putting money in his pocket, you know?
Yep, and that's what we're trying to accomplish with this update.
Okay.
Anything else? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, sorry, it's been a long time since I've been here. I don't know if my question, I don't know if the one comes in now or number 11, it's kind of a road question. So do I wait or do I ask it now? It's really kind of asking for information.
Well, let me bounce the two supervisors, see if they got anything going, then we'll go to public input, and we'd love to hear from you.
Okay, that's number 11. That's why I thought that you were
Yep,
asking.
that would be
We're
awesome.
still 10C.
Correct,
Yep.
but when they were shooting out questions, I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if I was supposed to shoot it out now or later.
No, we'll catch up with you here
Okay,
in a
thank
second. Mr. Lee, you have any?
No comment, thanks for coming.
Tony?
Everything's going good. Parks are open as of yesterday. The grass is growing and the rain is coming, so hopefully we can keep up with it. Thanks for coming.
And I'm good. Public input.
You go for it.
No, I don't need, go ahead.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I know there's an ordinance on automobiles and automobile parts and tires, and that's been getting cleaned up, and there's been complaints about it, and that's why. But is there an ordinance on old structures, old barns, old houses that aren't boarded up, that anybody can get into?
Like the blighted end of things, Jack, do you know anything on the blighted?
Unsafe.
Cammy?
We don't have property maintenance, so maybe unsafe.
So these owners can just let their property run down and look like crap, and squatters live in it, and, okay. I just wondered, maybe that's something Township needs to look into.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Do I have to say who I am and stuff?
Please.
Okay, I'm Diane Vestine, and I live at 2160 Elk Creek Road. Three things, so they're not long. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. The first one is, this isn't a, I'm just looking for a contact person, I think, because it's not a township issue. I think it's PennDOT. I'm feeling really unsafe traveling on Peach Street, approaching my right-hand south on Peach Street, approaching a right turn into the Sam's Club stuff, because I try to follow the lines on the road that say you're not supposed to be over there, and I have gotten nervous and rattled a couple times, because when it's my turn to turn, I always look, so I've never been hit. But there's some people that are coming lickety-split down there that they're not supposed to be there yet. So I don't know who to talk to about it.
That happened to me yesterday, actually.
Where they have the,
They're using the berm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're using the berm to go
yes.
around it.
right,
Yes.
They do
Yes.
that going into Walmart too.
Yeah, Walmart.
they do it down below as well, yeah,
Where do you
there's
mean?
several places.
Well, this has lines on it.
Yep,
you know,
hey.
so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
shouldn't, they are
Yep.
not watching, or
Yep.
maybe signage further back says this is not a lane yet.
Yeah.
Or,
Unfortunately, you can do as much signage and striping as you want.
Yeah.
There's an old saying, you can't engineer stupid away.
Yeah.
So, there's not a whole lot we can do. We're actually meeting with PennDOT tomorrow, I can mention to it then, but they're already aware of it, so.
oh,
Yeah, it's a common.
well, if you, could we keep telling them how.
Oh, we love being on PennDOT, we like to remind them of stuff, so
Yeah.
I'll be happy
Oh,
to tell them.
thanks. I appreciate it. It's just like, I want to roll my window down and say, pay attention, you're not supposed to be there, or you almost hit me, or they're just impatient, is that it? They just
Yeah.
don't want to wait till they get up to where it says to go. I would appreciate whatever you can do with that.
Yep.
My second thing is, I want to thank Jack Lee for a fabulous entry in here about the
Thanks.
situation with Perry Highway hose.
That's a tough situation, and it's been going on for a long time. And since we're fortunate enough to have the casino, we helped out Perry Highway, which they need help, and we got a very busy township, very busy roads, and it seems like Erie County's just been abusing it for the last 3 years. As a matter of fact, last month, April, they had 51 mutual aid calls. That's outside of the township. It's getting ridiculous. They were really busy this weekend. 3 in Erie, 3 in Mill Creek, a couple in Waterford, 1 in Washington Township, and they're probably not going to be able to keep this pace up either, you know.
I'm sure they aren't, so what's at our disposal to talk to whom? or to-
Hopefully the county gets involved and
Make some
starts
change.
making somebody be accountable and help these other fire departments out. They need to step up, and then it even gets a little worse. Since we solved the problem with Perry Highway and supporting them pretty healthy, now a lot of the other volunteer departments outside are saying, well, they'll answer the call, so we're out of service. You know, they got paid EMT people and paramedics, so basically the hell with it, it ain't right, you know.
I had no idea, and I just, it was
Well,
excellent.
thanks for reading that, because that's
I read the
a
whole
lot of
thing.
work,
The whole
a
thing.
lot of studies.
Yeah, it's great, so I just hope something happens to improve. I have one more thing, but I've done my first 3 minutes, if one, someone
Oh,
else.
that's all right,
Great,
close.
all right, okay. Okay, last thing. I don't know, some of you know, some of you don't, but I mean, I've been a Summit Township resident for 43 years now, I think. So I've been around a long time. And I want to say that I came here, and from the very beginning, I really felt it was a township that cared most about its people and what you can do for us and for our living and for our just great existence out here in Summit Township. But I'm not so sure today. Extremely disappointed that there was not more brainstorming and something done concerning the 3 outdoor events for the citizens of this township. And I don't think it's too late to rectify that. Did you want to think outside of the circle a little? You know, maybe things don't always have to be done the same way. You know, year after year you can change it. But you have just taken away so much of what people here look forward to. I took my parents for years to that senior citizen picnic. And again, we can change the way things are done if they can't quite be done the other way. But people need to gather, they need to be together. You're all gathered here. And my gosh, look at all, you know, the Erie Field gathers now with 2,000 people indoors. And all these events are outdoors. And I just don't understand. So please, either try to get me to understand or look now and make a change. I feel terrible for all of them, for myself, for the kids, for these parents. To be honest, I would be shocked if I'm the only one who, after reading this, has called in or come here or asked for a meeting or something. Because I personally right now don't even have children that would attend that program, but my son did. My son did for years, and then he was a volunteer as a teenager, you know, with the small groups of things that they do and so forth. But these kids need this. I think the seniors need it. I think the residents need it. I just think you need to do something and do something this summer yet. And then there's time. It's early. You don't have to create a big ta-da, but, you know, just do any thoughts or...
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I know, I can say for the kids program, specifically, that one gets looked at pretty early on, like before the year is new. So it's probably like late October, early November, we're talking about that program, thinking about that program. And at that time, COVID was still not, it was unsettling.
I agree.
I had COVID twice, I survived just fine, but, you know, a lot of people don't. You know, I mean, I know what you're saying. I mean, we all would love to do stuff. There's always these other people that are like, oh, you're crazy, you know, you're endangering our lives. We have people that say that. You know, why would you make a situation that would gather people? And we're like, you know, so next year.
People are sending their kids to school.
I know, oh, I agree with you 100%.
Okay, that's inside. You're
I
not
can't-
stopping that.
I really can't see it going beyond this year personally. I mean, I think it's pretty well dwindled down at this point, but that one got squashed early on, and it's hard to start it up again because there's so much pre-planning and getting the kids to work, et cetera, and talking about wages being.
Would you be willing to try?
Well,
Would you be willing to work with Pat McGuire if she said she could do it?
it's not really up to me hardly at all because the girls are really involved a lot, and I don't know how, you know, look what the date is. What's the date, May 2nd? I mean, we can talk about it real quick, but I think that there's a better chance of a picnic happening than there is that because of the planning that goes into it, and the kids and all that other stuff, you know.
Okay, I understand.
I know where you're
Planning.
coming
I
from,
did
you know.
talk,
Go ahead.
I did speak with her, and I think her willingness is there. I actually said it could be, you know, changed. It wouldn't be June, whatever, to mid-July, 6-week program. I said, you know, perhaps you could do it later in the summer. And she goes, no, I could still do it at the same time. Or if they felt it was too soon, we could post-date it. You could shorten it if you had to 4 weeks if you didn't have enough, maybe volunteers or whatever she might need, but I'd like to help her if I could. I just think something is still doable. Let these citizens of here know that you are thinking about them first. That's my real thought. So I'd love to hear more discussion, or if you wanted to talk to me some other time, or Pat McGuire as well, I'd appreciate it. And when you said a picnic for the township, that's fabulous. Fabulous. And again, that could be brainstormed as to how the food is done and who touches what, and da-da-da-da. You know, maybe it's not everybody bring a dish, it's catered and somebody pays so much ticket. I don't know. It needs to be sat down and just, that's what brainstorming is. So I hope we can do it. Thank you so much.
You know, and probably one of the other issues is, you know, our budget set, you know, back at the beginning of the year, and at that time it was an unknown what was gonna happen, so we erred on the side of caution. So, you know, to open up the budget and try to pull monies and try to get it off the ground is very difficult at this point.
What about the cost the students or the families would pay? Wouldn't that pay for most of the
Hey,
things?
no, very little.
That program loses about $16,000 to $18,000. That's what it costs us when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
It doesn't make anything.
Can you just explain a little where that cost is?
Mostly in the labor. Majority of it's in the labor for the kids and Pat. That's where the majority of it
I mean, all the,
You mean
Their
Pat
pay.
and her staff? I just don't
is.
know.
Pat and her staff,
their salaries.
yeah.
And I can print
She can show you.
a history for you if you'd like.
Yes, because again, I'm thinking even if it wasn't 6 weeks, it could be 3 weeks. I mean, it could be something.
Yeah, I can show you where.
I mean, Asbury Woods has their summer camps and people pay and da-da-da, and they're usually one at a time. So Erie Zoo, I'm a volunteer there, I mean, when people pay, and 6 weeks might be too long, but just something they could anticipate. Something.
If you want to write a phone number on that sign and sheet,
I can do that.
yeah, I'll call you when I'll get that printed for you and can email it or
And
you can pick it up.
You've got a Parks and Rec meeting here on.
Yeah.
But you did say there's a group gonna plan maybe something?
Well,
There's a
for the
Parks
whole-
and Rec meeting on Wednesday at
4:30.
4:30 here.
And actually, there was 3 of the members on that board voted to squash it too. So you gotta get past that. There's other people involved as well.
But who made the original? Was it the 3 supervisors?
Well, the original, ultimately we do all of them when it's all said and done, but we do get a lot of input from the Parks and Rec, and the Parks and Rec did not want to do the Residents Weekend, because they're the ones that put most of the effort into it. A couple of them did, and the majority of them didn't, so they voted no on a Residents Weekend deal. That's a true story.
That's true. Did you just say that's a true story? I'm hoping everything you said's a true story.
Oh, yeah, most.
I think it's a no.
Okay, anybody else? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.